let's talk about reducing fractions. If I have a fraction like 4/12, let's say I added a pair of fractions together and that was my answer. Most people don't want you to leave it in its high form like that. They want you to reduce it to smaller numbers. And the reason that most people reduce fractions is just because it helps them later on when they do other math with it, or just simplifies it in their brain so they can think about it a little more easily than trying to think of a candy bar with 12 pieces that you ate 4 of. We can reduce the numbers without actually changing the fraction, and it just makes life easier for us later on. So if I want to reduce this fraction, the first thing you need to think of is what number can go into a 4 and can go into a 12 evenly, because it has to be the same number. So if I think of a 2, because they're both even numbers, so I know a 2 will work. I could divide both the top and the bottom of that fraction by a 2, and it'll work, and it'll make it into smaller numbers. I could also divide it by a 4, and it'll work as well. If you have trouble with your multiplication facts, pick the smaller number and just do it a couple times. If you're pretty good with your multiplication facts, you can pick the highest number you can think of that will work and do that, and you'll only have to do it in one step. So here's what I mean. So 4 divided by 2 and 12 divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Still not in its smallest form. So I can do it again, and 2 will also work for both of these. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. We got all the way down to 1/3. Now I could have done it in one step if I picked a bigger number like a 4, because I know a 4 will work, because a 4 and a 12 are multiples of 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Same fraction, got it in one step. So that's how you reduce fractions. Now let me show you in picture form why you can do this, and it's not actually changing anything. It's not changing the fraction. It's not changing how much you ate. It's simply just making it into smaller numbers, which makes life easier for us later. So if I have a fraction of 2/4, that would look like a pizza divided into 4s, and I ate 2 pieces. But let's say these numbers are too big. I want them even smaller. I want to reduce this fraction as much as I can. Take the 2/4 and divide it by 2, because 2 will work for the top and the bottom. And the key is, whatever number you're using to divide by, you have to do it both to the top and the bottom. If it works for only one, you can't. You can't make the fraction smaller. So they have to use the same number for the top and the bottom. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 2/4 and 1/2 are exactly the same fraction. It's exactly the same amount. We just changed it to smaller numbers. What that would look like is, here's my pizza with 2/4, the same size pizza, cut into half, shows that you ate the same amount. It's just now that we're using smaller numbers. Okay? So it's not changing the amount, you're just changing the numbers of the fraction when you reduce.